Bobby Barrera's earliest moments in Saginaw, Michigan were of fear, death, and crime. He was born into the notorious Barrera family, who lost many of their own to rival gangs. Bobby never knew when he might be next.
But I always remember every time on the way there, I would always have these butterflies, like this feeling in my stomach.
Bobby was 6 when his parents divorced. Living with their mom, he and his 2 brothers rarely saw their dad. When they did, it was at the penitentiary, where he was serving a life term for multiple crimes.
It was like the love just wasn't gonna be there. Like that wasn't an option.
By the time Bobby was 18, he was fully vested in the family business, dealing drugs, constantly on the run from police and rival gangs. He also had 3 children with his girlfriend, Sherry.
Houses getting shot up. Kids couldn't sleep in their room. I would put them in the basement, thinking that they would be safer down there in case the house got shot. It was just real bad.
It wasn't long before Bobby was hooked on cocaine.
All of those things combined, it was like, I guess that was something that I used to, to just medicate myself.
There was one person in his life who tried to convince Bobby there was a better way. His Aunt Becky. A once violent gangbanger herself, she had found faith in Christ while serving time.
I talked to him about the Lord. I told him this is not life. I said, you just gotta know, Bob, look at me. Look what God did for me, mijo. I said, can't you see how good he is and what he can do for you guys?
Even though Bobby wanted to believe her, he couldn't pull free from the life he knew.
It was like the street life was pulling me this way, but wanting to be that father in my kid's life was pulling me the other way. So it was like a battle, like a tug of war.
In 2010, after both his brothers landed in prison, Bobby, now 32, decided it was time for a fresh start and moved his family 2 hours away to Grand Rapids. Nonetheless, he went back to what he knew, selling drugs. His addiction only got worse.
The fear of being broke and not being able to, since I started providing for my kids at such a young age, it was something that always, that's what drove me. It was like, if I don't do this, what are we gonna do?
Now, it was Sherry who was talking to Bobby about Jesus. They had started going to church on occasion after getting an invite from their new neighbors.
Because Sherry would always tell me, Bobby, God told me that if you would just do the right thing, that our lives would change. But I never listened though.
Bobby would continue ignoring Sherry and God for 7 more years. Then, in 2017, she was hospitalized with kidney failure. Doctors weren't sure she would live.
None of the shootings, none of the drug raids, none of the violence, none of that stuff ever compared to this. This was like a whole different kind of battle. Like I felt like it was my fault that she was in the hospital. It's my fault because I didn't want to do what's right.
There was only one thing left for Bobby to do.
I had to surrender. I mean, really called out to Jesus in a whole new way. It was just strictly between me and him, saying I'm ready. I'm ready to just let go of my will. I'm ready to let go of these drugs. I'm ready to let go of this lifestyle. I'm ready to serve you.
Bobby says he was delivered from cocaine instantly. Now sober, he began to understand what his wife and Aunt Becky had been saying all along.
When I started to realize that God really loves me, it was so real. Like I felt it. I'm like, he really loves me. Like and me, after everything I did my whole life, all these things that I did and this lifestyle that I've been living, I'm like, but you're still speaking to me. You're still rescuing me.
3 months later, Sherry was released from the hospital and remarkably recovered. Bobby got a job and started making honest money. The Barreras married in 2018, and their whole family, 9 in all, including 2 grandchildren, are benefiting from what God has done.
he filled me with something that the money, the drugs, the reputation, the name, the whatever I thought I had back then, it was a whole different kind of confidence, courage. Like I felt like, man, this is what it feels like to be sober. This is what it feels like to be a man. This is what it feels like to really, to be loved.